Hello everybody, my name is Olsi and I'm the political officer of NovUM Maastricht. Today we are here in Amsterdam to have an insightful interview with a candidate at the Dutch election, Carline van Breugel of D66.
We're really excited about this project to help international students like ourselves learn more about Dutch politics and expand our voices beyond the University Council and get you heard on a national level.
Thank you very much for accepting this interview.
Yes, of course.
For our followers who do not necessarily follow the topic, could you please elaborate more about yourself and who are you representing D66?
Yes, of course, and great to have you here in Amsterdam. So I'm Carline van Breugel, I'm 26 years old and I'm on place 32 of D66. I've always really been passionate about education and having more to say in education for young people. I think there's a lot of talking about us and not so much with us. So I started at Blocks, which is like more for the youngster education, but then I became the president of the Dutch Student Union, and I have been protesting against the loan system and fulfilling my job there. But I, as a young person, I don't only want to talk about education, but I also want to talk about climate, diversity, and all the other issues that are important for us. So that is why I now am on the list for D66 to get into the parliament. So that's about my campaign. D66 is a party that really feels like you have to be able to be yourself. And be scored on what you do and not who you are. So you have to be able to be visible yourself, walk with a rainbow bag around the city without anyone shouting at you or anything. And we think education is like the basis of everything to give every child a fair chance in life. I also come from my parents didn't study, which made it sometimes harder for me to find my way in the system, and also to finance it I really needed the scholarship that was then there. So I and this sister really want to rebring this scholarship to be able to study and focus on that.
And so we were also wondering your position on the issue of sustainability, because of course it's a very hot topic at the moment. It's going to be one of the defining issues of the 2020s. So we were wondering whether D66 has any kind of concrete vision for how to build a greener Netherlands, because that's going to be a big discussion in the upcoming years.
Yeah, it's really important for us. This cabinet is the first that really has done something for sustainability other than put less money in it. So we really want to make a change. We also want to be able to invest in that and to do more than we already do, because we can't wait, because climate change is already happening, and if we and our children want to have a good life, we need to do something now. So we are really ambitious on that part, and we are also, I think, the party who had a really big say in the fact that we actually have a climaatakkoord. How do we call it? Climate deal?
Yeah, climate deal.
Yeah, and I'm really proud on that, but I think we should definitely, we can do more, and we want to do more.
Okay, cool. Is there any concrete plan on this deal, in terms of numbers, or could you please more elaborate on that?
Yeah, so it's like CO2 English word?
Yeah.
So we want to lower the CO2 emissions. We want to lower it with 60%. So this asks a lot from companies, but also from the really big industry who has a lot of pollution. We want to charge them extra so that we can invest the money that comes free in more innovation, so that we can invest in a green industry instead of the industry that we have now. But we also want to have a tax on flying, so that it's not that cheap anymore to fly, and people will be more willing to take the train. And this actually, of course, asks for a better train track in the whole of Europe, so that you can go fast and comfortable for a good price. And we also want to have a smaller how do you call it, meat industry. Mm-hmm. So now we have a lot of meat and we export it, and it's a lot of pollution So we would rather lower that down, have a better situation for the animals, but also less emission.
Besides sustainability, as you said, housing is a very important issue and a central topic for a student. What do you think we should do to tackle the increasing demands for housing accommodation for the incoming students? There are 3% of students coming to the Netherlands every year or more, and the university keeps on attracting.
Yeah.
How do you want to tackle this as a D66 member?
So at first, I'm really happy with the international students in Netherlands, because I think they give like a really new perspective on each topic, and that can really make your education a lot better. But what happens now is that universities, like you said, market their education, but then they don't fit the right housing. So I think it's important that universities work together with the governmental institutes, so that there's enough student housing, and that they give like a fair perspective to the international students about the housing market here, and how much they're gonna pay, how hard it'll be to find a room, so that they come with the right, how do you say it, vision. And also we really want to build a lot of new houses. So D66 wants to build 1 million new houses, and we want to have this tax, these subsidies for the housing for students, so that they're able to, even if they don't have their own front door, that they can get this money to make it a bit easier. So this will mean no separate health insurance subsidies and rent subsidies, but they just in once. Even if you don't have a front door, you get like €300 a month.
Well, it's great to hear some party actually doing something about it. We think it's a really important issue.
Yeah.
Especially now, because in Corona times, when you're spending so much time at home and your ability to socialise is already limited, it has such a big impact on your well-being.
Yeah, definitely. So we just moved here. It's only for 1 year, but I lived in such a small room. I was like going insane, like 2 roommates, and I was like, oh my god, I need space. So I think a lot of students have this, and they already have a really hard time by not able to see people, have to stay inside all the time, and then have to like study and sleep in the same room. So I think it should be possible to like at least be able for everyone to have a room, and then make it a bit more comfortable. Yeah.
And so what sort of things would you like to do to tackle the well-being struggles of students in situations like yourself last year, who are going insane at the moment with everything that's going on? What do you think are the main issues for student well-being at the moment, and do you have any ideas on how to address those?
Well, I think the main problem of student well-being is like the fact that you have to loan so much money, and that you have to work next to your studies, and that you can't do all the things that you guys are doing. Probably it costs a lot of money to not like work, but do like voluntary work. But otherwise, if you come up to the market to work, then you don't have enough experience if you only worked and haven't done such things. So I think the pressure on students is like increasing. It's so high that we want to bring back this study subsidies to make students able to fulfill their study and focus on it. So this will be available for 6 out of 10 students. So only if your parents earn more than €5,500 a month, then you don't get it. Then your parents still have to help, but I think if they earn that much, that they should be able. So in other words, you'll get like around €400. So this and added up with the tax that I mentioned earlier would be like €700. I think this would really help to be like less worried about your financials and about working and more focusing on studies.
Definitely.
As a last question, I would like to ask you more about the current situation between international students and Dutch students. There is like this segregation as well here in Amsterdam. It's very evident between students who only accept Dutch national student inside their houses, and international are left out. What can we do? You were a former president of LSVB. What can we do to prevent that this situation continues to rise as a phenomenon?
Like the problem is now that universities have seen it like a way to earn more money to get like internationals, and the problem with that is that they make sure that they get here, and then the internationals get here, they can't find a house. There's not like a proper program to integrate with Dutch students. Sometimes it's not even possible to get lessons in Dutch for free, which is like the basis to be able to actually build a life here. And I think we should be more critical on that, and be like more critical to universities that they have to facilitate this, and that also like the student and associations should focus on integrating the Dutch people with the internationals, because it's also so much more fun to learn from each other and to have such different backgrounds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that the integration is not good, which is why internationals meet internationals and Dutchies meet Dutchies, and it's like a shame.
Yeah, especially like the houses that only search for Dutch people.
Oh my god, this is like the worst.
Yeah.
I get like so upset about this. It makes me so mad. Like there's like no internationals.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh my god, yeah. It's terrible.
It's a bad plug in Dutch cities, definitely.
Yeah, it's really terrible, because I can imagine that you're not that fluent in English, but you'll get there if you live with an international.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
And so finally, what advice would you give young people deciding how to vote in the upcoming election?
So what I would advise them to do is to vote for a younger person, because it's really different the way that we are, like in our educational system, but also in our housing. It's really different from what people of 48 are known with, and that's the main age in the parliament right now. There's only like one person under 30 in the parliament, and I think that makes a lot of sense if you see how much the things they choose for don't match with the students, and the fact that they are not aware of the pressure that students experience. So I think it would be really good to vote for a younger person, so that your voice is actually heard in the parliament.